Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Welcome back.
So we have another mantra, and we have a little history, and we have a little of a drive towards unity, because that's where we're heading.
Something very heartfelt and uplifting here.
It is, and it's beautiful. And we just got done with some mantras outside, and Cindy was doing some serious connecting.
It was beautiful. Just some of the deities, their essence feels so good. It feels so good to connect.
It's a beautiful thing. And so there are so many different beings from all different traditions, because what happens is traditions build around beings, many of these benevolent teachers that come here to get us back on track. They understand the greater oneness. It's man that later on comes along, and his ego, causes him to lay claim to something and say, well, this is my tradition and it's the only true one, where none of these teachers would say that. They would say the only true path is that of love and compassion.
Right. And, you have to find love and compassion within and for yourself first.
Exactly. It's not about one-upmanship. It's not about my teacher, my master, my way is better. Because the only true way is through love.
That's right. And it's, just something that we all need to cultivate. And if we're ever hurting in our life, we need to stop and listen to that so that we can repair it and then expand with love even more.
So this is a mantra from the Sikh tradition, and it's Ek Onkar Satguru Prasad. And it's usually said basically in the manner of Ek Onkar Satguru Prasad Ek Onkar. So this really translates to God and we are one. I know this by the grace of the true Guru, and Guru is teacher. I know this by the grace of the true Guru, God and we are one.
That's so beautiful. I feel it when you say it. There's something rhythmic to it that just brings you to your center.
Yeah, this is one you could get lost in.
Oh, yeah.
When you're vibrating it and just, going through it, it just does something to the mind that brings it to a peaceful point, to where you could start to just draw in all that loving energy. It's really beautiful and powerful.
Very, very useful these days.
So this one's also known as a mantra that can basically reverse negative to positive, as in the way it's stated. And this is ultimately the greatest mystery. Like last night I just finished a book on the Essenes. And, at the end of the book, it says, the greatest mystery is the fact that ultimately everything is one. It doesn't look like it, because of our quote unquote individual experiences going on, but ultimately we're all one. We're all God experiencing its own creation, and it's an it. It's not a he or a she. It's both, and it's beyond any sort of label. Again, when we look at the Tao Te Ching, the Tao that can be named is not the ultimate Tao. It's not the true Tao, because it's unknowable to these finite little brains.
So when you do keep that in mind, then you realize that everything else is it's an experience that we came here to experience and enjoy with other beings.
It is. And the ultimate truth is we are one. And we are working back towards that. We come from the one, we go to the one, and in the middle there's a huge multiverse of experiences along the way.
Lots of fun stuff there.
It sure is, but it's recognizing that oneness that can change our reality, and that's how we tap on in and upwards and back into the power of Source, where we could release ourselves from all sorts of negative apparent bondage.
That's so true. There's a lot of bondage issues there that a lot of people have that they need to work through, and this is something to help people work through their problems.
It's all about connecting to the highest vibrations possible. As one of our dear friends who is a Sikh, and they would always say, only the highest vibrations, only
Yes.
the highest. Yes, we love you, Raj.
He is so fun. We call it kind of like Raj talk. Only the highest vibrational food, please.
Yes. And he's a dear brother of ours as well. So it's understanding that all the apparent differences are really misperceptions. They really are, because at the core, there's an underlying oneness. And this is Guru Nanak. And Guru Nanak is the founder of Sikhism. He's the founder and first guru of Sikhism. He was born in 1469 and in the Punjab area of the Indian subcontinent, and actually now in the area that would be part of Pakistan after the splitting of India and Pakistan into two separate entities. So he grew up at a time when there was, just like today, there's a lot of tension between Hindu and Muslim. And, it doesn't have to be that way, because ultimately, I think most people would agree God is love, right? So is it serving love to basically create dissension and disharmony? So he recognized that. And as so many great teachers, and again, guru just means teacher, they get a message. They have a vision. This is what all the scriptures are based on. They're based on getting these visions, these downloads, so to speak.
Yes, and they do get a lot of them.
So, he was a very, very good student. He had studied many different religious texts from many different languages as well. And he understood there is a unity to the world. And there's a unity that we're just missing the point on, as he saw many Hindus and Muslims in constant conflict. And it doesn't have to be that way. That's really the dark energy that always does that. So yes, this is a mantra to reverse negative to positive. And this is the essence of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. This is the Sikh sacred scripture. And it's known as the Mool mantra in Sikhism. It's the most important recitation. It's named the Mool mantra because it sums up the existence of God. Moreover, it's better to practice this powerful Kundalini sacred mantra only when you're feeling free of negative thoughts towards anyone or anything, as it's about reversing the negative to the positive. So Guru Nanak taught this mantra to his son, Baba Siri Chand. This Siri mantra brings in energy to reside in the heart chakra. Yogi Bhajan referred to the mantra as the eyes of Indra, saying that the body is a temple through which one experiences the eternal, the infinite, like all knowledge, wisdom, and bliss that flows through you. So again, it's Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. And you could translate these in some different ways, and this one's translating it, there is one creator of all creation. All is a blessing of the one creator. This realization comes through Guru's grace, which is, again, the teacher, the true Guru.
Right. And I kind of, as you're talking about it, I have a little bit of a question. I understand it is to reverse karma and make things better, and your mind is supposed to be clear when you do this. I mean, what if you can't clear your mind first and you can only do the mantra? Will your mind clear from negative thinking over time, or do you have to do a meditation and then the mantra to get to that space?
It'd probably be a good idea to at least do some ohms. You could start with Om. Om in itself is an amazing one to clear energy. You could do something very, very simple like Waheguru, just focusing in on Waheguru. That means you're calling on the true teacher, which is the source of all love, light, and peace and harmony. You could do Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, or you could do like we do, and like today we started our day with sunshine on the skin and mantras, but we could also have started it with Qigong. Yeah. And when we do Qigong, and we'll get into more videos about that as well, some newer Qigong videos, the first thing we do is purgation. And purgation means you just get rid of the crud. So you do that through various motions. So that could help clear you and get you ready into a more receptive state for the positive energies.
That's a really good idea. I know for me personally, it is the Qigong and the purgation that really helps clear me.
So the Kundalini Mantra makes the mind so powerful that it removes all hindrances. If this magical mantra is chanted just 5 times, it will stop the mind and put it into reverse gear. The mantra, as used in Kundalini Yoga, is a specific quantum technology that uses sound vibration to affect and elevate consciousness, as well as to heal us on all levels. Vibrations are so powerful, and last night was a long night, and in the middle of the night, again, waking up, I just go to the mantras. And I'll tell you, 3 a.m. is an important time because it's when we can connect most really to some of the higher vibrations. And the mantras just seem to be more powerful around 3 a.m. I was buzzing like head to toe, literally coming out of the body. And so that's part of why we do these, because so often most of the time, we reside completely within the brain. And so our consciousness is not, a product of the brain. And when we go deep into the mantras and the vibrations, as well as just still meditation or Qigong, we can sometimes find ourselves completely out of the body. And that is then the knowing. It's the gnosis. It's the self-realization that, we are not a body. We have a body, but we're not the body. I am something else. I'm just inhabiting and using this body as a vehicle in this reality. And so that's what can happen when we chant these beautiful vibrations. And they're all vibrations, and they're specific to different frequencies, as we have said. They're very, very powerful and transformative. And so I had 2 different ideas after the meditation. I do want to talk about 3 individual beings that I feel were understanding the need for the transition of the world out of the Kali Yuga and heading into a better age, and understanding that it's going to be through letting go of systems. We don't need any particular system. Systems are a tool. It's not like if we only use one system, we're choosing the right system. One size does not fit all, as we've said many, many times. Systems are tools, and sometimes we outgrow systems. They'll take us to a certain point, and then we just have to let it go because we kind of hit a dead end. And we might notice there's a little branch over there. That looks like a little path over there. Okay, I'll go down that path and see where that leads. And maybe it will take us to a deeper layer of realization. And then there might be another path that branches off. I've explored so many different paths. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, went to countless different churches, evangelical, you name it, went to it. For quite a while, was going to a group of Jews for Jesus, and Messianic Jews, and honestly, they were fun. They were a lot of fun. They were into, kind of like what we had at the kirtans that I would go to. A lot of like group cooking, just cooking and celebrating life and celebrating love and peace and happiness. And then, it was time for me to move on to other traditions and explore them. So I've explored so many different traditions. I've probably gone to, and joined churches of at least 20 different denominations, as well as been to everything from Buddhist temples to Hindu temples to Jewish temples, taken part in different Wiccan and pagan celebrations as well. Everything I can experience in order to, get a feel for that common core. And see, everything is really window dressing as long as the heart is in the right place. But it's whatever feels good to you at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, like for me, for instance, early on, it was very difficult for me to step outside of that one belief system that I was sitting in. But over time, I couldn't help it. I got more and more curious about the different belief systems and why does this work like this and why does that work like that. And once you just start to step out and be open to different systems, boy, there's just so much to know and to understand and to experience.
So when we experience a different system and view it as a tool for us to get to know other people's thoughts, feelings, culture, even food, in ways, as well as their beliefs. But just view it from that point, not viewing it from the point of, well, this may be the one true path and every other path is going to lead to hell. Then there's a joy in it, because we realize, this is again just one other way of expressing our love for each other and for Source, God, Prime Creator. So when we look at Sikh beliefs, the origin of the universe is from one eternal light source, one God Creator, all humans created equal. So men and women have the same rights, and human life is a precious blessing. So he was rebelling against what he saw there, because he saw such dogma on both sides developing. He saw the inequality of women, in Islam and in Islamic society, and that just hit him as a body blow, made him feel like it was just very, very wrong. He also saw the way and this has been going on for a very, very long time, like the Brahmin class. He didn't like the class system that was over in Hinduism. And, again, that was, in my mind, the class system in some ways, you could see how it developed. It developed in the same way as what we found develop in Judaism and then going on into Christianity. It was all about power and control of the priestly caste, which was at the very, very high end. So, it was all about tithing to them, not really to God, quote unquote, elevating them in stature and power, having there be only one way we could do this. We could only do this ceremony this way, and it has to be done by somebody officially inaugurated. And he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. It just didn't feel right to him. So, with what he believed was that men and women have the same rights and we're all created equal. Everything carries a spark of divine light. That source is within all of us. No race, pigmentation, gender is intrinsically superior to others. That's a beautiful thing. And so, this was going against kind of the main thoughts of the time. Back in the late 1400s, freedom and liberty for all. But he also recognized that there were predators out there, so you had to protect yours and others' rights. So in that sense, a little bit different because of his life experience than, say, what Yeshua taught. Because Yeshua taught if you want to go all the way to merging back and becoming one with the Creator, then basically you have to be willing to lay down your own life and to not pick up the sword against another. So everybody's on a different path and in a different point of their being. You may not want to merge back into the light and be all done with this level of existence. So to you, it might be the opposite. It might be that you want to, fight the darkness in different ways. Again, everybody is at a different point in their soul's evolution. So truth, fearlessness, non-hateful spirit are important in attaining salvation. Salvation is really recognizing our situation, recognizing that we are that divine spark. And then it's a matter of cultivating what makes that spark grow.
Right. That's really important. And also another really important thing I see is people being more and more accepting of other people's belief system. And I think that's, the little mustard seed planted that's necessary to grow this independent ability to be sovereign and free.
Only those who practice love obtain God, because that's it ultimately. There will be said that I did this and that in my name, and Yeshua says, I will say, I knew you not, because you were acting out of ego. You were acting out of, lifting something higher than another, So the only thing to be lifted higher is the practice of loving compassion and non-judgment. There's a huge key in that, because when we get past judging others as well, then we can start to let go of our own karma. It's a two-way street like that. And as long as we're holding on to that judgment, as long as we're saying, you're going to hell because you don't believe like I do, then it's kind of in effect damning ourselves. It's putting ourselves into that negative loop. And, let judge not lest ye be judged. So we have to get past that. We have to recognize really everything is window dressing other than that loving compassion, which will take us straight there.
Well, yeah, it'll help lead us on our path of where we're supposed to go if we can find that center and move forward from there.
Respect for all religions, Because at the heart, why do people get involved? Well, in the first place, it's because they're searching for something greater. They feel like there's a hole, there's something missing, something must be wrong. I just can't feel, abundantly blissful and loving all the time. What's wrong? What's missing? And so they search from one tradition to another, or they just stay in one tradition and just still, perhaps don't grow as much as they could. Equality of all faiths, caste, creed, race, and all are welcome to the Guru Dwara. And that means, basically the realization that we're spirits. Yeah, everything else is window dressing, So if we are non-corporeal beings, just basically hopping in a body to use as a vehicle. Now, also hopping into a certain DNA lineage, perhaps hopping into certain gifts, certain things to overcome as well. This is all part of that master matrix that's all around us. But recognizing that, at one point in time, you might have been in a body that was a different color, a different caste, a different creed. It's all about what we need to learn in this life.
Yes, it's all one big opportunity.
And we could see, this echoes so many other faiths. I am not the born. How then can there be birth or death for me? Because ultimately we're consciousness. Consciousness. All religions lead us to a universal God if we don't get blinded along the way, if we don't put the blinders on and think that this is the only way. The only way, again, is that loving compassion, all that leads to gnosis, which is that a realization that doesn't come from the left brain. It comes from somewhere else. It's all encompassing, head to toe, tingling vibration of love.
Yes, very beautiful, very wonderful.
And so this is Snatam Kauer. She is probably the preeminent, but there are other Sikh people that have amazing musical talents. So she can bring a sense of peace, and I'll leave you guys with a link to her playlist so you could feel the energy and the compassion and the love. And actually my road into the studies of Sikhism goes back to 2009, as far as friends and being introduced to it, and that blessed peace that my friends had that were following this faith. Although I actually was visited by Guru Nanak in meditation, in vision, a couple of times, and I didn't know who he was. And I remember, getting up and saying, Guru Nanak, who's that? It sounds familiar, but I never had studied Sikhism. So then when I looked it up and found that he was the founder of Sikhism, it kind of clicked for me. And it's not that my path is Sikhism, because really it's something beyond the label. And that's what we need to realize, is that we could follow and use any tradition to take us to a certain point, and maybe it's that point that we stay at for the rest of this life, and that's beautiful, and that's bliss. But again, they are tools to connecting with Source, with Prime Creator, with God, with the ultimate source of love and light.
Mm-hmm. I feel it's about allowing yourself the freedom to explore and understand and experience different belief systems to find what's right for you. And sometimes it might be a little piece from this system, and that system, and create your own belief system. And that's always totally okay.
And we're going to talk about two other people that understood that and were, wonderful teachers in the relatively near past. They got the bigger pictures as well. So guys, make sure you are subscribed. Thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Anybody that needs to reach out to us and set up a time for either a Vedic chart or for an energy session or just some spiritual coaching, it's EEARTS at protonmail.com or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. We are grateful to have you guys here and blessed by your presence. And Cindy's going to send out some positive vibes.
God bless and namaste.
May you guys be blessed with abundant peace, love, happiness, and light, and may you all live up to the highest possibility for this lifetime. God bless and namaste.